classic examples are, I would say, evolution by natural selection. 150-year-old theory proven, beyond any reasonable doubt in operation in labs and demonstrating evolution in real time. You can even watch it happening. The Big Bang in astronomy is a little more esoteric, 13.8 billion years ago, very different universe. So that is a little more understandable. So not all of these things are on the same landscape. The why would people not believe in evolution? I think it's just not part of their common experience. And it may be that they don't disbelieve it a priori. It's just they need some reason to believe that it happens other than a set of experts who have training they've never had telling them that it happens. No, I think that's probably the biggest disconnect between the general public, practicing scientists, and journalists and media people who have to mediate that disconnect. I think that's a real disconnect, because if you ask the average person how they think scientists behave, operate, what they do, and I've done this in some surveys, it doesn't bear any resemblance to what scientists do. I mean, it's sometimes a little more exotic and exciting, they think, than what science works. It's much more definitive. It's much more, rapid paced. It's not contingent. It's not nuanced. It's not the layering of knowledge gained painfully with forward and backward steps. So, real science is actually a little dull compared to the way the public thinks about it, and not as decisive, for good reasons, though. I think it's a little hard to tell, because of course it's truly hard to completely unravel fraud, because it's going to be well hidden if it's well done fraud. I mean, Nature would suggest, their surveys and polls and the discovery of fraud suggest that it's at 1 in 1,000 or a couple in 1,000 scientific studies. But of course, that's low, but these are often very high stakes studies. They're ones that really matter with a big health consequence. So outright fraud is rare, because science does self-correct, and if it's really important, it will be replicated. Things that are not replicated for reasons of messy technique and poor statistics, that's pretty common. And that's probably more at the 10% level or even higher. And that's just the sort of ugly and messy part of how science works. If it's not an important topic, it may never get corrected. It may get corrected years later, or not at all. Science is moving so fast, there's so many people doing science on so many topics, that very few people take the time to, or are motivated, either in terms of their career or financially or by their support, to do what someone else has already done before. That's not cutting edge, it's not exciting. And so there's a disincentive to reproducing a result. There's also an even more pervasive thing, which is when you look at something and don't find anything, a null result. Well, that's boring. It's hard to publish, but it's an important piece of data as far as science goes, and those often don't see the light of day.